Hey everyone, it's Pam from GlamJunkJournals, and today we are going to create something that is so fun, so quick, and so easy to come together. Let me show you. These are what I'm calling my postcard tearaway booklets. Aren't these the cutest thing ever? Oh my goodness, I had so much fun putting these together. It's so addictive. Aren't these adorable? Look at that. I love these. And they're so fun to put together. Oh my goodness, right? Okay, let me show you before I get all wrapped up in how cute those are, my inspiration. So I got this, which is an actual tearaway postcard booklet. I don't know if there's some official name to it, but that's what I'm calling them. I got this at an antique store, and here is the actual postcard. This is the only one that's left inside my little booklet. And as you can see, I've torn away all of the others that were in this booklet, and this is the only thing I have left. And I have another one here. Nothing left but the tissue paper. So basically, a postcard measures approximately 3.5 by 5. So I use that as a general guideline for my booklets here. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some cardstock, and it can be double-sided, but that's entirely up to you. What I did on some of mine is I put, some lined graphics on the other side, or I just did a stamp with some distressing. So really, it's whatever you want to put on the back, or you could leave it plain. It's entirely up to you. So you just need some cardstock. I wouldn't use scrapbook paper because it needs to be a little sturdier. Another thing I did here is I did use some music, and this was a sturdier music sheet. So it's just something that'll hold up to being in your booklet here. So what you need is, like I said, some cardstock, and this measures a little bit over 3 inches, and it needs to be 6 inches long because you need to have a little bit extra on this side for, the tearaway right here, right? So I have gathered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little postcards to put in my booklet. And isn't this paper just the most gorgeous thing? This is from the Etsy shop, DreamingHeartsCo, and I'll put a link in the description box. She has the most beautiful digitals. Oh my gosh. And the other one that I'm using in my booklet from her shop is this one. And it's going to go so well in the current journal I'm working on. So I'm very excited about that. So basically, 5 pieces of cardstock, 6 inches by 3 to 3.5. So that's what I've got here, and however you want to distress the back. And in addition, you're going to need some tissue paper for in between your postcards. Now let me show you some options for what you can do. This is tracing paper that's inside a sewing pattern for some clothing. Now you can get, sewing patterns at any thrift store. So this works remarkably well. And I did use that in some of my booklets here. Another thing you could use is tissue paper. This is just basically tissue paper that's used for wrapping presents. And I love the gorgeous patterns of these two. I got these on Amazon, and I gotta tell you, they're absolutely beautiful. I have a hard time finding really pretty tissue paper in stores around me, so this was a great deal. Another thing you could use is a tea bag. These are almost exactly the size of a postcard. So those three things are, I think, pretty readily accessible that you can use for in between your postcards. So what you're going to need besides your cardstock is some of the tissue that's cut to the same dimensions, 3 to 3.5 by 6. And then the only other thing you're going to need is a piece of cardstock. Now I used cream just because I wanted to, mimic this same plain cream colored cardstock that was used in my actual booklet that I had. Now this has been coffee dyed and it's also been sprayed with some Lindy's Glimmer Mist, but that's totally optional. And what I've done is I've cut out 2 little pieces, and basically all you want to do is cut them the same as your postcard. And these measure about, let me see, how much do these measure? These are about 3/4 by the length of your postcard. So this particular postcard that I'm using is a little over 3 inches. So you just need 2 little bits of cardstock. So easiest thing to put together ever. So to create the tearaway effect, what I did on these other booklets is I used my Score Pal, and basically it's a scoreboard. That's all it is. And what I did is I took my cut pieces of cardstock and I scored a little line. You don't want to press too hard because if you do, you may tear, and I've done that. Trust me on that. So I have done each of these except for this last one, and I went on the 5/8 mark. So basically it really doesn't, have to be exactly the same. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me move this out of the way here. You want to get it, what I'm trying to say here is basically about the same width as your this little piece of cardstock, because you want the ability to tear it away, right? So like I said, 5/8 to 3/4 on the tear away. So let's just put them together. All right. Now, another thing you may want to think of before you put your little booklet together is, do you want anything on the back of your postcards? So for example, on this, like I said, I did distress the back and I also distressed all of the edges, but I just did a little stamp, and I think that looks postcard-ish. It looks like the, the stamp from the post office. So that is this particular stamp that I got from Your Creative Studio. Very cute. I also have this stamp, and that is just a postcard stamp. Another thought would be, I have this stamp, which you could just create some lines for, on the back. So get creative with it, and that's really fun. Another thing that I like to do, and this can be done, I think, either before or after you put your postcard booklet together, is on each of the top postcards, I did add a little bit of embellishment here. Like this is an embossed piece of cardstock that has been distressed, and I added some glitter to it. And then that creates a little pocket for a tag. Got some bling on a roll here. Another thing I did do is I did do some stenciling with my Tim Holtz Flourish stencil and some modeling paste. So those are some things to think about doing maybe before you put your booklet together, just because it might be easier. You could probably do it after it's all together, but that's something to think about. So let's just put this baby together here. So I have decided that I am going to use this one on the cover. And as you can see around the edges, I did do some distressing, and I also used my Rub and Buff wax in gold leaf. I love that. And some gold glitter glue, just because I like sparkle. No other reason. Excuse me. So we're going to layer one. I'm going to get a cough here. I need to drink some water. Hold on one second. I'm recovering from some sort of sickness. I don't know what it is. So anyways, all right. And I'm going to just layer my postcards with, whoops, I think I forgot one. See, I already did that. Yep, right there. With my tissue paper in between each one. Oh, I just love this. So I have some extras. Oh, darn, I'll have to make some more. And you just stack them all together. Now, granted, I am not the greatest cutter in the world, as you can tell. That's a little bit longer, but we'll take care of that. So all you have to do is staple this together. Oh, how easy is that? So we're going to line this up on one side, and then, oops, see, you got to be smarter than the postcard here. I'm going to make sure that my little stamps, if I did do any on these, are right side up, and they are. It's not the end of the world if it isn't, but you know. All right, so we're going to add those together. And another thing, I don't know if I mentioned that I did distress the outside of this little piece of cardstock here. And that is entirely optional. I just like that look. So I'm going to stand up and staple this baby together. How easy is that, right? Oh, so much fun. And then from here, what I've done on each of these is added a little bit of extra on the end. Like I put some tulle and some lace, and I just glued it on the top. And on this one, I did create 2 holes, and I threaded some sari silk ribbon through it. And this one, I just glued some sari silk and added a button on the top. So on this one, I think what I want to do is I want to do something similar to this. So I am going to punch 2 holes, one on each side of the staple, and I'm going to just eyeball this. And I'm using my crocodile here. And you can be as measury as you want. I'm usually not a measury kind of person unless, you know, certain aspects I am, but not with this kind of stuff. And then I'm just going to thread this through. Where's my little pokey tool? I need my pokey tool. Ah, here it is. Just going to just poke that through on one side. That, and do the other side. I'm going to sit back down. I've been standing for the past couple minutes. I'm like, what am I doing standing? Okay, stick that through there. I mean, and you can get as fancy or as, you know, not fancy, whatever you like for the cover. And of course, you know me, I'm fancy. So I'm going to add some of my gold tulle on the top also. Just going to maybe thread that through underneath. I'm not sure. I think, yeah, that's what I'll do. See how it turns out, right? You can always change it around. And then I'm just going to tie a bow. So when this gets put in your junk journal, I don't know if I like that. I don't know, you guys. I'm going to have to finagle around with the bow a little bit. But you guys get the idea, right? Yeah. I think I do like that. Yay! So what was I saying? Oh yeah, when you put these in your junk journal, how cute is that? I mean, you can get as fancy as you want with the covers, or you can leave them plain. It's totally up to you, right? Maybe add some buttons. Oh, and one thing that I found is look at these. Aren't those cool? These are metal brackets, and I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but I got those on Amazon also. And look how pretty that looks right there. I am going to put that on the bottom. Love it. Oh, I'm going to use my E6000 for the back of that, just because E6000 is a very strong adhesive glue, and you're not going to see it underneath the metal bracket here. And just put that down, and ta-da! Isn't that the cutest thing ever? Oh my gosh. And then, so whenever you're, I don't want to move this one around because this is still wet, but the tearaway aspect, since we did do the score on it, is you just fold it over and tear it. Now, granted, these are pretty cute. I don't know if I want to tear these, but you always have that option. And think about this. This could also be just a tag. You could tear away and add it as a tag in your junk journal. So these are very, very versatile. I'm absolutely in love with these. They're so fun. I encourage you guys to try these, and just the sky's the limit. Mix up some patterns, you know, use some different ribbons, add as much embellishment to the covers as you like. So much fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and go out and make your own postcard tearaway booklet. And I will put a link to the Etsy shop that I mentioned earlier, Dreaming Hearts Company, in the description box, along with all of these other products that I mentioned today. I just think they're all fabulous. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Thank you. Bye.